Heyo, and welcome back to the stream, everyone. Let's just get started with the chapter 14. Which is called The Pirate Ship. One green light squinting over Kidd's Creek, which is near the mouth of the Pirate River, marked where the brig, the Jolly Roger, lay low in the water, a wreckish-looking craft full to hull, every beam in her the detestable like crown strewn with mangled feathers. She was the cannibal of the seas, and scarce needed that watchful eye, for she floated immune in the horror of her name. She was wrapped in a blanket of night, through which no sound from her could have reached the shore. There was little sound, and none agreeable save the whir of the ship's sewing machine, at which Smee sat ever. Industrious and obliging, the essence of the commonplace, pathetic Smee. I know not why he was so infinitely pathetic, unless it were because he was so pathetically unaware of it, but even strong men had to turn hastily from looking at him, and more than once, and one summer evenings he had touched the fount of Hook's tears and made it flow. Of this, as of almost everything else, Smee was quite unconscious. Kapitel 14 Das Piratenschiff. Ein einzelnes grünes Licht blinzelte über die Captain Kidd-Bucht. Okay, here's a mark. Let me see what it says. Okay, there's an explanation for the Captain Kidd Kidd's Creek. It's called Kidd's Creek in English. Okay, so William Kidd was like one of the most famous pirates of the 17th and 18th century, apparently, and he was hung, I guess, yes, at the 23rd of May in 1701. At the execution dock, which was that famous place in London. We learned about that in the last chapter. And maybe that is kind of how do you say that? The Gold Roger from One Piece, because it also says that he was so legendary because of the borrowed treasure that he left behind, and that was referenced too in one of Edgar Allan Poe's short stories called The Golden Bug, or at least that it's literally translated in German. So I don't know what the English title is, but it was released in 1843, so you can easily look that up, I guess. And yeah, maybe that is where Gold Roger comes from. I wonder. I'm not sure. By the way, I think the live action series of One Piece is very good and worth worth giving a shot. I also like the animated series in a manga, but I'm not a big fan of ongoing on stories that or animes or mangas that are seemingly never ending stories, have never ending stories. So I like it rather short. And how do you say it? Like with the actual closing with an actual ending. So yeah, but I enjoyed watching the Netflix series, the first season, and I probably will watch the other one, the other ones also when they come out. So yeah, just wanna to throw that in here real quick. Okay, let's continue. Ein einzelnes grünes Licht blinzelte über die Kittbucht in der Nähe der Mündung des Piratenflusses und zeigte an, wo tief im Wasser die Brig lag, die Jolly Roger. Ein schnittig gebautes Schiff, aber hässlich bis in den Rumpf, jeder Balken abscheuerregend, wie ein mit zerfetzten Federn übersäter Boden. Sie war die Kannibalin der Meere und hatte das wachsame Auge kaum nötig, denn der Schrecken ihres Namens allein machte sie unangreifbar. Sie lag gehüllt in den Mantel der Nacht, durch den kein Laut ans Ufer drang. Es gab an Bord auch kaum Geräusche, vor allem keine angenehmen, außer dem Surren des Schiffs, der Schiffsnähmaschine, an der Smee saß, immer fleißig und zuvorkommend ein Muster an Gewöhnlichkeit, herzergreifender Smee. Ich weiß nicht, warum er so unendlich anrührend war. Es sei denn, weil er auf so anrührende Weise gar nicht wusste, dass er es war. Doch selbst starke Männer mussten den Blick rasch wieder abwenden, und mehr als einmal hatte Smee an lauen Sommerabenden Hooks Tränenquell berührt und ihn zum Fließen gebracht. Doch davon hatte Smee, wie von fast allem anderen auch, nicht die geringste Ahnung. Oh, it's very interesting how they translate pathetic. I completely got it wrong. It's not in a negative connotation, not negative sense of its meaning. It's more like someone who is able to, how do you say it, to move other people's emotions. And I don't know, cause them to cry, for example, or be touched. So yeah, that's very, very interesting. It's okay. Yeah, let's continue with the English part here. A few of the pirates leaned over the bulwarks, drinking the miasma of the night. Others sprawled by barrels over games of dice and cards, and the exhausted four who had carried the little house lay prone on a deck where even their asleep, they rolled skillfully to this side or that, out of Hook's reach, lest he should claw them mechanically in passing. Hook trod the deck in thought. A man unfathomable. It was his hour of triumph. Peter had been removed forever from his path, and all the other boys, were on the brig, about to walk the plank. It was his grimmest deed since the days when he had brought barbecue to heel, and knowing, as we do how vain a tabernacle is man, could we be surprised had he now paced the deck unsteadily, bellied out by the winds of his success. Ein paar Piraten lehnten über dem Schanzenkleid und tranken im Gifthauch der Nacht. Okay, there's the next. Oh God, this page is cluttered all over with notes, with marks, with little marks for explanations. Oh God. Okay, the first one is for Schanzkleid, which is I don't know what it means even in German. It is the bulwark. Okay, let's look it up. I'm curious. Okay, a Schanzkleid, or in English bulwark, is closed over the deck of the ship, arching. Oh God, kind of. Oh God, there are more words that I don't know. Oh God, I'm not sure how to if I have to look that up real quick on the internet, because I'm still with the explanation. There are too many how do you say that? Too many technical terms that you should know, which I don't know, which are obviously part of a ship, but yeah, it's just terms that I don't know what's that they mean. I have to look it up real quick. Yeah, I found the explanation. There's even a Wikipedia article, but funnily, there is no one in English, so which makes it even more difficult to explain. Okay, I hopefully Google did a good job here. So the bulwark, also known as bulwark clothing or entrenchment, is a complete or partially installed continuation of the ship's side above the upper deck of a ship. It had a tactical protective function on sailing warships in combat with other ships as well as a protective function against waves and wind, and can therefore still be found on civilian and military ships today. So it basically functions like a fence or like like I mean, without it, you literally could fall from the edge of the ship side, or I mean, if there was not a wall or anything, you just could walk over the deck and fall from the ship on one or the other side. So it makes sense that there is something, and this wall apparently is called a bulwark or Schanzkleid, which is really weird term in my opinion, but okay, so let's continue. Because there are no more notes. Andere hingen bei den Fässern über Würfeln und Karten und erschöpften vier, die das kleine Haus getragen hatten, lagen flach hingestreckt auf Deck, wo sie sogar im Schlaf geschickt zu dieser oder jener Seite rollten, nur um Hook nicht zu nahe zu kommen, falls er im Vorübergehen doch mechanisch nach ihnen greifen sollte. Hook schritt tief in Gedanken das Deck auf und ab. Was für ein undurchdringlicher Mann. Er war die Stunde seines Triumphes. Peter würde seinen Pfad nie wieder kreuzen. Und all die anderen Jungs waren auf der Brigg und kurz davor, über die Planke zu springen. Okay, there's the next note. Oh, I think we read this already. It's Walk the Plank. So yeah, we read this one. I mean, it's more or less common knowledge nowadays. Es war seine grausamste Tat, seit er sich Barbecue gefügig gemacht hatte, und weil wir selbstverständlich wissen, was für ein eitles Wesen der Mensch ist, sollten wir da überrascht sein, wenn er auf Deck selbst unruhig hin und her ginge mit dem Aufwind seines Volkes geschwellter Brust. But there was no elation in his gait, which kept pace with the action of his somber mind. Hook was profoundly dejected. He was often thus when communing with himself on board ship in quietude of the night. It was because he was so terrible alone. This inscrutable man never felt more alone than when surrounded by his dogs. They were socially so inferior to him. Hook was not his true name. To reveal who he really was would even at this date set the country in a place. Doch es lag kein Freudentaumel in seinem Gang, der mit der Bewegung seines melancholischen Geistes Schritt hielt. Hook war zutiefst deprimiert. Er war so oft, oh Gott, I can't read anymore. Er war oft so, wenn er im Schweigen der Nacht an Bord des Schiffes mit sich selbst zu Rate ging. Der Grund, er war so furchtbar allein. Dieser unergründliche Mann fühlte sich nie einsamer, als wenn er von seinen Hunden umgeben war. Sie standen gesellschaftlich zu viel tiefer als er. Hook war nicht sein richtiger Name. Zu enthüllen, wer er war, ja wirklich war, würde dieses Land bis auf den heutigen Tag in helle Aufregung versetzen. But as those who read between the lines must already have guessed, he had been at a famous public school, and his traditions still clung to him like garments, with which indeed they are largely concerned. Thus it was offensive to him even now to board a ship in the same dress in which he travelled her, and he still adhered in his walk to the school's distinguished lodge. But above all, he retained the passion for good form. Good form, however much he may have degenerated, he still knew that this is all that really matters. From far with, from far within him he heard a creaking as of rusty bottles, and through them came a stern tap, 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 like hammering in the night when one cannot sleep. Have you been good form today? Was the eternal question. Fame, fame, that glittering bauble, it is mine, he cried. It is quite good, but quite good form to be distinguished at anything. The tap-tap from his school replied. I am the only man whom Barbecue feared, he urged, and Flint himself feared Barbecue. Barbecue Flint, what house? Came the cutting retort. Most disquieting reflection of all, was it not bad form to think about good form? His vitals were tortured by this problem. It was a claw within him, sharper than the iron one, and as it tore him, the perspiration dripped down his hollow countenance and streaked his doubled. Oftentimes he drew his sleeve across his face, but there was no damming that trickle. Envy, not Hook. There came to him a presentiment of his early dissolution. It was as if Peter's terrible oath had burned the ship. Hook felt a gloomy desire to make his dying speech, lest presently there should be no time for it. Better for Hook, he cried, if he had had less ambition. It was in his darkest hours. Only that he referred to himself in the third person. No little children love me. Wie aber diejenigen, die inzwischen den Zeilen lesen, sicher längst bemerkt haben, war er Schüler einer berühmten Privatschule gewesen. Okay, there's the next mark. Wait. Okay, it is okay. I'm not intelligent with the private school, the famous private school. It is a reference to the Eton College, and in the oh God, what is that word? In the version of Peter Pan that was staged as a play, and called Peter Pan, or the boy who would not grow up. Hook's last words were Florid Etna, which is Latin and means Eton. oh God, Eton Bloom, or like in the sense of um, like have success, like bloom like a flower. Like, yeah, I'm not sure if this is the right translation. But florid, I mean flower, floral, blah blah. It means probably it is the how do you say that? Uh, the motto of the school or the university, the college. Eton College. I have to look that up. I'm not sure what that college is, or if it's like famous college, like I don't know, Harvard University, for example, or something like that. Maybe. So he's a man of education, and therefore he's socially how do you say that? He's learned in good manners and forms, and I don't know, probably polite speech and whatnot. Okay, let's continue. Und deren Traditionen hingen an ihm wie die Garderobe, womit sie in der Tat die meiste Zeit zu tun haben. Deshalb empfand er es noch heute als anstößig, ein Schiff in derselben Kleidung zu betreten, in der er es geentert hatte, und er bewahrte bis heute die vornehme Lässigkeit jener Schule in seinem Gang. Vor allem aber brannte in ihm noch immer die Leidenschaft für gute Manieren. Oh yeah, that is meant with good form, probably. Yes, manners. Gute Manieren, wie heruntergekommen er sonst auch sein mochte. Er wusste, das war alles, worauf es wirklich ankam. Tief aus seinem Inneren hörte er ein Knarren wie von rostigen Portalen, und durch sie hindurch ertönte ein strenges Poch, 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 wie Hämmern in der Nacht, wenn man nicht schlafen kann. Hast du heute gute Manieren gezeigt? Lautete die ewige Frage. Ruhm, Ruhm, dieser glänzende Tand, er gehört mir, rief er. Sind das wirklich gute Manieren, sich wegen irgendetwas zu rühmen, antwortete das Poch-Poch aus seiner Schule. Ich bin der Einzige, vor dem sich Barbecue gefürchtet hat, drängte er, und sogar Flint hatte sich vor Barbecue gefürchtet. Barbecue? Flint? Welches College? Kam die schneidende Antwort, und der beunruhigendste Gedanke von allen. Waren es nicht schlechte Manieren, über gute Manieren nachzudenken? Dieses Problem quälte ihn bis in die Eingeweide. Es war eine Klaue in seinem Inneren, die war schärfer als die eiserne, und während sie ihn zerriss, troff ihm der Schweiß über das talgige Gesicht und äderte seinen Wams. Er rieb sich häufig mit dem Ärmel die Stirn, aber das Rinnsal war nicht aufzuhalten. Nein, Hook war nicht zu beneiden. Eine Vorahnung seines frühen Todes ereilte ihn. Es war, als hätte Peters furchtbarer Schwur das Schiff betreten. Hook fühlte. Eine düstere Lust, seine letzten Worte zu sprechen, falls schon im nächsten Augenblick keine Zeit mehr dazu wäre. Es wäre besser für Hook, rief er, wenn er weniger Ehrgeiz gehabt hätte. Nur in seinen dunkelsten Stunden sprach er über sich selbst in der dritten Person. Mich liebt kein einziges kleines Kind. Strange that he should think of this, which had never troubled him before. Perhaps the sewing machine brought it to his mind, for long he muttered to himself, staring at Smee, who was hemming placidly under the conviction that all children feared him. feared Smee. There was not a child on board the brig that night who did not already love him. He had said horrid things to them, and hit them with the palm of his hand, because he could not hit with his fist, but they had only clung to him the more. Michael had tried on his spectacles to tell poor Smee that they thought him lovable. Hook itched to do it, but it seemed too brutal. Instead, he revolved this mystery in his mind. Why do they find me lovable? He pursued the problem like the sleuth hound that he was. If Smee was lovable, what was it that made him so? A terrible answer suddenly presented itself. Good form? Had the boatswain good form, without knowing it, which is the best form of all? He remembered that you have to prove you don't know you have it before you are eligible for pop. What the hell? With a cry of rage, he raised his iron hand over Smee's head, but he did not tear. What arrested him was his reflection. To claw a man because he is good form, what would that be? Okay, I don't know what's happened to Hook, but he's kind of psycho. Seltsam, dass jetzt an etwas dachte, das ihn nie zuvor bedrängt hatte. Vielleicht hat die Nähmaschine ihn daran erinnert. Lange murmelte er vor sich hin und wandte den Blick nicht von Smee, der gelassen weiternähte und fest davon überzeugt war, dass alle Kinder Angst vor ihm hatten. Angst vor ihm hatten. Angst vor Smee. Das gab es in dieser Nacht an Bord der Brig kein Kind, das ihn nicht längst ins Herz geschlossen hätte. Er hatte fürchterliche Dinge zu ihm gesagt und sie mit der offenen Hand geschlagen, weil er mit der Faust nicht schlagen konnte, aber die gingen nur umso mehr an ihm. Michael hatte ihm sogar seine Brille aufprobiert, dem armen Smee zu verraten, dass sie ihn für liebenswert hielten. Hook juckte es, das zu tun, doch es schien ihm zu brutal. Stattdessen löste er in Gedanken folgendes Rätsel. Warum finden Sie Smee liebenswert? Er verfolgte das Problem wie ein Spürhund, der er war. Wenn Smee liebenswert war, was hat ihn dazu gemacht? Eine grauenvolle Antwort schoss ihm plötzlich durch den Kopf. Gute Manieren? Hatte der Bootsmann gute Manieren? Ohne es zu wissen, also von allen Manieren auch noch die besten? Er erinnerte sich, dass man beweisen muss, dass man nicht weiß, dass man sie hat, bevor man in den Club gewählt werden kann. Okay, there's a note for club, so let's see what it says. Oh, okay. Club is, it's not called club in English, it's pop in English, but it is like a club. It is a renowned club at the Eton College, the so-called Eton Society, and it consisted of 20 scholars or 20, how do you say it, pupils, and most of them are the best ones in sports. Okay. Well. Okay, here I stopped. Nice little side note, I guess. Mit einem, sorry my voice, mit einem Wutschrei hob er die eiserne Klaue über Smees Kopf, aber schlug nicht zu. Folgende Überlegung hielt ihn davon ab, einen Menschen zu zerreißen, weil er nur gute Manieren hat, würde was bedeuten. Sorry for my voice, but bad form. The unhappy Hook was an impotent was as impotent as he was damp, and he fell forward like a cut flower. His dogs, thinking him out of the way for a time, discipline instantly relaxed, and they broke into a bacchanalian dance, which brought him to his feet at once, all traces of human weakness gone, as if a bucket of water had passed over him. Quite, you skags. Oh god, there's the next note. What is a skag? SCUUGS. Oh, come on. Okay, this former descriptive term for a scholar at the Eton College, and there. Oh God, this is really bad. It's a slur. It's how do you say it? It's a bad word. So it is a descriptor for someone who is not able to wield any kind of success in any kind of sports related curriculum at the Eton College, and therefore is thought of as an loser, like, I mean, not loser in a like a more fancy word for it, but like unsuccessful, and therefore, of course, is not liked by or detained. I don't know. That's brutal. I mean, there is by definition always someone at least who is not good at sports, so just to make fun of them, or that's not very nice. Okay, let's continue. But okay, they are pirates. I mean, they are not nice. So, quite you skags, he cried, or I'll cast anchor. I cast anchor in you, and at once the din was hushed. All the children chained, so that they cannot fly away. Aye, aye. Then hoist them up. The wretched prisoners were dragged from the hold, all except Wendy, and ranged in line in front of him. For a time he seemed unconscious of their presence. He lolled at his ease, humming not unmelodiously snatches a rude song and fingering a pack of cards. Ever and anon the light from his cigar gave a touch of color to his face. Now then, bullies, he said briskly, 6 of you walk the plank tonight, but I have room for 2 cabin boys. Which of you is it to be? Don't irritate him unnecessarily, had been Wendy's instructions in the hold. So Toodles stepped forward politely. Toodles hated the idea of signing under such a man, but an instinct told him that it would be prudent to lay the responsibility on an absent person, and though a somewhat silly boy, he knew that mothers alone are always willing to be the buffer. All children know this about mothers and despise them for it, but make constant use of it. So Toodles explained prudently, you see, sir, I don't think my mother would like me to be a pirate. Would your mother like you to be a pirate? Slightly. Schlechte Manieren. Der unglückliche Hook war so kraftlos wie sein Gesicht verschwitzt und fiel vornüber wie eine Schnittblume. Seine Hunde dachten, sie hätten ihn damit für eine Weile vom Hals, und sofort sank die Disziplin und sie fielen in einen bacchantischen Tanz, der ihn augenblicklich wieder auf die Beine brachte. Alle Anzeichen menschlicher Schwäche verflogen, als hätte man einen Eimer Wasser über ihn ausgeleert. Ruhe, ihr Fettsäcke, schrie er. Oh Gott. The German translation of skak is even more insulting. It is like it's literally translated as a fat sack, like some, yeah, you mean, I don't have to explain it, I think. Oder ich treibe euch den Haken zwischen die Rippen. Der Lärm verstummte sofort. Sind alle Kinder gefesselt, damit sie nicht wegfliegen können? Ei, ei. Dann hieft sie auf Deck. Die armen Gefangenen wurden aus dem Landeraum gezerrt, alle außer Wendy, und in gerader Linie vor ihm aufgereiht. Eine Zeit lang schien er ihre Gegenwart gar nicht wahrzunehmen. Hook regelte sich entspannt, summte durchaus wohlklingend Bruchstücke eines derben Gassenhauers und fingerte mit einem Kartenspiel. Hin und wieder warf das Licht seiner Zigarre einen Hauch von Farbe in sein Gesicht. Also, ihr kleinen Tyrannen, sagte er forsch, 6 von euch springen heute Nacht über die Planke. Aber ich kann noch 2 Schiffsjungen gebrauchen. Wer von euch soll das sein? Ihr dürft ihn nicht unnötig reizen, hatte Wendy sie im Laderaum belehrt. Deshalb trat Toodles höflich vor. Toodles hasste die Vorstellung, bei einem solchen Kerl anzuheuern, aber sein Instinkt sagte ihm, dass es klug wäre, die Verantwortung auf jemanden zu schieben, der nicht da ist. Und obwohl er ein bisschen dumm war, wusste er, dass ausschließlich Mütter immer bereit sind, den Prellbock zu spielen. Alle Kinder wissen das über Mütter und verachten sie dafür, aber machen ständig Gebrauch davon. Also erklärte er ganz gescheit: Sehen Sie, Sir, ich glaube nicht, dass meine Mutter will, dass ich Pirat werde. Will deine Mutter, dass du Pirat wirst, Slightly? Okay, I don't think, what the hell, I don't think children despise their mothers for knowing that they will be the buffer for everything. It's, at least, I mean, when I realized that this is kind of true, when I really realized it, I was feeling bad for doing that oftentimes in the past, because I don't know, I knew that my mother would not let anything bad happening, or that is really I regret doing it. Regretted it being like so. How do you say that? Use that to my advantage in a way. So it's not despising my mother for it. It's rather I'm feeling bad myself for doing it in the past. Okay, he winked at Slightly, who said mournfully, I don't think so, as if he wished things had been otherwise. Would your mother like you to be a pirate, twin? I don't think so, said the first twin, as clever as the others. Nibs would. Stow the scab, roared Hook, and the spokesman were dragged back. You boy, he said, addressing John, you look as if you had a little pluck in you. Didst never want to be a pirate, my hearty? Now John had sometime experienced his hankering at Marv's prep, and he was struck by Hook's picking him out. I once thought of calling myself Red-Handed Jack, he said diffidently. And a good name, too. We'll call you that there, bully, if you join. What do you think, Michael? Asked John. What would you call me if I join? Michael demanded. Blackbeard Joe. Michael was naturally impressed. What do you think, John? He wanted John to decide, and John wanted him to decide. Shall we still be respectful subjects of the king? John inquired. Through Hook's teeth came the answer. You would have to swear down with the king. Perhaps John had not behaved very well so far, but he shone out now. Then I refuse, he cried, banging the barrel in front of Hook. And I refuse, cried Michael. Rule Britannia, squeaked Curly. Okay, there's a mark for Britannia, or the call. Okay, it's the unofficial name for the national anthem of Great Britain. Rule Britannia. Jesus, I mean, all that great, so-called great kingdoms in the past, kind of, I don't know, they had a problem with authority, with how do you say that? They kind of just wanted too much. And I mean, come on. So let's get back to the translation text here. Er zwinkerte jetzt slightly zu und er sagte wehmütig, ich glaube nicht, als wünschte er, es wäre anders, will deine Mutter, dass du Pirat wirst, Zwilling? Ich glaube nicht, sagte der erste Zwilling genauso gescheit wie die anderen. Nips will deine. Schluss mit dem Gequatsche, donnerte Hook und die Redner wurden zurück in die Reihe gezogen. Du da, sagte er zu John, siehst aus, als hättest du ein bisschen Mumm. Wolltest du nicht immer schon Pirat werden, mein Junge? Tatsächlich hatte John diese Sehnsucht bei den Mathe-Hausaufgaben schon mehrfach verspürt, und er war beeindruckt, dass Hook ihn auswählte. Ich habe mal überlegt, ich würde mich Jack Rothand nennen, sagte er schüchtern. Und was für ein Name, und was für ein Name ist, und was das für ein Name ist, so werden wir dich hier auch nennen, Cal, wenn du mitmachst. Was meinst du, Michael? Fragte John. Und wenn ich auch mitmache, wie würdest du mich nennen? Wollte Michael wissen. Joe Schwarzbart. Michael war natürlich beeindruckt. Was meinst du, John? Er wollte, dass John entscheidet, und John wollte, dass Michael entscheidet. Sind wir dann immer noch ergebene Untertanen des Königs? Erkundigte sich John. Hook zischte seine Antwort durch die Zähne. Nieder mit dem König, müsst ihr schwören. Vielleicht hatte John sich bisher nicht allzu gut geschlagen, aber jetzt begann er zu glänzen. Dann weigere ich mich, schrie er und trat dröhnend gegen das Fass, das genau vor Hook stand. Und ich mich auch, rief Michael. Es lebe der König, quiekte Curly, which is long live the king, in English. So they translated Rule Britannia in long live the king, or okay. The infuriated pirates buffeted them in the mouth, and Hook roared out, "That seals your doom. Bring up their mother, get the blank ready." They were only boys, and they went white as they saw Jukes and Keko preparing the fatal blank, but they tried to look brave when Wendy was brought up. No words of mine can tell you how Wendy despised those pirates. To the boys, there was at least some glamour in the pirate calling, but all that she saw was that the ship had not been scrubbed for years. That could be me. There was not a porthole on the creamy glass which you might not have written with your finger. dirty pig, and she had already written it several, but this, but as the boys, that is not good form. But as the boys gathered around her, she had no thought, of course, safe for them. So, my beauty, said Hook, as if he spoke in syrup, you are to see your children walk the plank. Fine gentleman, though he was, the intensity of his communings had soiled his ruff, and suddenly he knew that she was gazing at it. With a hasty gesture, he tried to hide it, but he was too late. Are they to die? Asked Wendy, with a look of such frightful contempt that he nearly fainted. They are, he snarled. Silence all. He called gloatingly for mother's last words to her children. At this moment Wendy was grand. These are my last words, dear boys, she said firmly. I feel that I have a message to you from your real mothers, and it is this. We hope our sons will die like English gentlemen. Oh, Jesus Christ, don't give me that patriot stuff. Even the pirates were awed, and Toodles cried out hysterically, I am going to do what my mother hopes. What are you to do, Nips? Die wütenden Piraten schlugen sie auf den Mund, und Hook brüllte, das besiegelt euer Schicksal. Holt ihre Mutter auf Deck, macht die Blanke fertig. Sie waren nur kleine Jungs und wurden blass, als sie sahen, wie Jukes und Keggo die verhängnisvollen Blanke herrichteten. Doch sie versuchten tapfer auszusehen, als Wendy heraufgeholt wurde. Ich kann euch gar nicht sagen, wie sehr Wendy diese Piraten verachtete. Für die Jungs lag wenigstens noch ein Zauber über den Beruf des Piraten. Sie aber sah nichts weiter als das Schiff, das seit Jahren nicht geschrubbt worden war. Es gab kein einziges Bullauge, auf dessen verdreckter Scheibe man nicht mit dem Finger Schwein hätte schreiben können, und sie hatte es bereits auf mehreren geschrieben. Doch als die Jungs sich um sie drängten, dachte sie natürlich an nichts anderes als sie. »So, meine Schöne«, sagte Hook in süßlichem Ton, »gleich siehst du, wie deine Kinder über die Planke springen.« Obwohl er so ein feiner Gentleman war, hatte die Angestrengtheit seiner Selbstgespräche seinen Kragen besudelt, und plötzlich wusste er, dass ihr bohrender Blick darauf lag. Mit einer hastigen Geste versuchte er, den Makel zu verstecken, aber es war zu spät. »Werden Sie sterben?« fragte Wendy mit einer fürchterlichen Verachtung im Blick, dass er fast in Ohnmacht fiel. »Werden Sie«, knurrte er. »Ruhe jetzt«, rief er hämisch. Für die letzten Worte einer Mutter an ihre Kinder. In diesem Moment war Wendy großartig. »Dies sind meine letzten Worte, beste Jungs«, sagte sie entschlossen. »Ich spüre, dass ich eine Nachricht von euren echten Müttern für euch habe. Und sie lautet, wir hoffen, dass unsere Söhne wie englische Gentlemen sterben werden.« Sogar die Piraten waren von Ehrfurcht ergriffen, und Toodles schrie hysterisch, »Ich werde tun, was meine Mutter sich erhofft. Was wirst du tun, Nips?« »What my mother hopes. What are you to do, Twin?« »What my mother hopes, John. What are—« But Hook had found his voice again. »Tie her up«, he shouted. It was Smee who tied her to the mast. »See here, honey«, he whispered, »I'll save you if you promise to be my mother.« But not even for Smee would she make such a promise. I would almost rather have no children at all, she said disdainfully. It is sad to know that not a boy was looking at her as Smee tied her to the mast. The eyes of all were on the plank. That last little walk they were about to take. They were no longer able to hope that they would walk it manfully, for the capacity to think had gone from them. They could stare and shiver only. Hook smiled on them with his teeth closed and took a step toward Wendy. His intention was to turn her face so that she should see the boys walking the plank one by one, but he never reached her. He never heard the cry of anguish he hoped to wring from her. He had heard something else instead. It was the terrible tick, tick of the crocodile. They all heard it, pirates, boys, Wendy's, and immediately every head was blown in one direction, not to the water whence the sound proceeded, but toward Hook. All knew that what was about to happen concerned him alone, and that from being actors they were suddenly become spectators. Very frightful was it to see the change that came over him. It was as if he had been clipped at every joint. He fell in a little heap. Was meine Mutter sich erhofft. Was wirst du tun, Zwilling? Was meine Mutter sich erhofft, schon was. Doch da erhob seine Stimme schon wieder. Fesselt sie, brüllte er. Es war Smee, der sie an den Mast band. Pass auf, Kleine, flüsterte er. Ich rette dich, wenn du versprichst, meine Mutter zu werden. Aber nicht einmal Smee wollte sie ein solches Versprechen geben. Lieber hätte ich dann fast gar keine Kinder, sagte sie verächtlich, traurig zu wissen, dass keiner der Jungen sie ansah, als Smee sie an den Mast band. Alle Augen waren auf die Planke gerichtet. Dieses letzte kleine Wegstück, das sie gleich gehen würden. Sie konnten nicht einmal mehr hoffen, es mannhaft zu gehen, denn die Fähigkeit zu denken hatte sie verlassen. Sie konnten nur noch starren und zittern. Hook lächelte mit zusammengebissenen Zähnen an und trat einen Schritt auf Wendy zu. Sein Plan war, ihr Gesicht zu drehen, das sie mit ansehen musste, wie die Jungen einer nach dem anderen über die Planke sprangen, aber er kam nie bei ihr an und hörte nie den qualvollen Schrei, den er ihr zu entreißen gehofft hatte. Er hörte stattdessen etwas anderes. Es war das grauenvolle Tick-Tack des Krokodils. Alle hörten es, die Piratenjungs, Wendy, und im selben Augenblick wirbelte allen Köpfe in ihre Richtung. Nicht zum Wasser, woher das Geräusch kam, sondern zu Hook. Alle wussten, was nun passieren würde, ging nur ihn allein etwas an, und sie wussten auch, dass sie von Darstellern plötzlich zu Zuschauern geworden waren. Ausgesprochen fürchterlich war es, seine Verwandlung beizuwohnen. Es war, als hätte man jedem seiner Gelenke einen Schlag verpasst. Er fiel einfach in sich zusammen. The sound came steadily nearer, and in advance of it came this ghastly thought: the crocodile is about to board the ship. Even the iron claw hung inactive, as if knowing that it was no intrinsic part of what the attacking force wanted. Left so fearfully alone, any other man would have lain with his eyes shut where he fell, but the gigantic brain of Hook was still working, and under the guidance he crawled on his knees along the deck. As far from the sound as he could go, the pirates respectfully cleared a passage for him, and it was only when he brought up against the bulwarks that he spoke. "Hide me," he cried hoarsely. They gathered around him, all eyes averted from the thing that was coming aboard. They had no thought of fighting. It was fate. Only when Hook was hidden from them did curiosity loosen the limbs of the boys, so that they could rush to the ship's side to see the crocodile climbing it. Then they got the strangest surprise of nights, for it was not no crocodile that was coming to their aid. It was Peter. He signed to them not to give vent to any cry of admiration that might rouse suspicion. Then he went on ticking. Das Geräusch kam stetig näher, und ein entsetzlicher Gedanke eilte ihm voraus. Gleich kommt das Krokodil an Bord. Sogar die eiserne Klaue hing schlaff herunter, als wäre ihr klar, dass sie keinesfalls Teil dessen war, worauf es der Angreifer abgesehen hatte. So grauenvoll allein gelassen wäre jeder andere mit geschlossenen Augen liegen geblieben, wo er zusammengebrochen war. Doch Hooks gewaltiges Gehirn arbeitete noch immer, und unter dieser Führung kroch er auf Knien über das Überdeck so weit von diesem Geräusch fort, wie er konnte. Die Piraten traten respektvoll zur Seite, und erst als er am Schanzkleid ankam, sprach er. »Versteckt mich«, rief er heiser. Sie drängten sich um ihn, sämtliche Augen abgewendet von dem Ding, das jetzt an Bord kroch. Sie dachten nicht einmal daran, darüber nachzukämpfen. Es war Schicksal. Erst als Hook nicht mehr zu sehen war, befreite die Neugier die Jungs aus ihrer Starrung, und sie konnten an die Reling laufen, um zu sehen, wie das Krokodil hinaufkroch. Dann erlebten sie die allerseltsamste Überraschung dieser Nacht der Nächte, denn es war kein Krokodil, das ihnen da zu Hilfe kam, es war Peter. Er machte ihnen Zeichen, ihr Erstaunen nicht herauszuschreien, weil es Verdacht erregen könnte. Dann tickte er weiter. Okay, this was chapter 14. And there are 17 chapters in total. I counted them. So 3 more chapters to go. We will continue reading next week and hopefully finish the book then. I'm too tired and my voice is too hoarse tonight, but I really enjoy reading those old books because they make use of language which is nowadays more or less not used that often anymore, and by that you can learn new words and cool terms and whatever. I mean, it's just the English language is compared to my own language so much more. It has about 3 times as much. It's as many words than the German language, which is insane. I mean, not insane, but it is. Of course, many of the words are not used nowadays, but still, there are so many words, and you can describe so many things with them. So I like learning new words here and then, and probably can use them actively in conversation or in writings, whatever. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the session today, despite my voice cracks, and we will get back to it next week, starting next week, Monday, I guess. And there will be a time change happening at the end of March, to the summertime, European Central Summertime, or what it is called in English, which means the clock will be set 1 hour into the future, so to speak. I will, and that is, I think it's happening at the 30, yeah, at the end of March. I have to look it up again. I forget it every time. I hate that time change shit. It's so annoying. But yeah, and not for not for, it's nothing to worry about for next week. So yeah, I hope you have a good one, and of course stay safe as always, and have a nice and lovely long weekend, y'all. We see each other around. Bye bye.